Hi, this is E.T. Here are some thoughts on the Second Amendment. An obvious contradiction exists between the Bill of Rights guarantees and the Constitution's preamble. The preamble pledges we the people to a more perfect union, justice, domestic tranquility, common defense, the general welfare, the blessings of liberty. But the Bill of Rights guarantees one's ability to pursue, unimpaired by any federal coercion, activities that could well threaten those very things to which we the people pledge to protect and secure. What if somebody publishes, say, an article on how to build a nuclear bomb? Well, Amendment 1 guarantees his right to do so. But does this not challenge every point listed in the preamble? By the way, that was not hypothetical. In 1979, the Progressive magazine published its own how-to build an H-bomb. Rumor had it that it was very popular among Middle Eastern readers. The Second Amendment reads this way: a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now a question arises. Does that amendment uphold the preamble's responsibilities, which we've pledged to uphold and secure? Or does the Second Amendment pose a threat to the preamble by placing weapons in the hands of those outside of a militia with intent on mayhem? To answer the question requires that we define words. Militia. Does that refer to a government-controlled military, or does it refer to some truther paramilitary somewhere in North Idaho? Well, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 12 says that Congress can provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union and to suppress rebellions and insurrections and repel invasions. Article 2, Section 2 says that the President is to be commander-in-chief of that militia. George Washington did call up that militia to put down the Whiskey Rebellion. That said, a decade and a half prior to the Constitution's ratification, militias were organizing around Boston and in other colonies, militias that were illegal and intent upon challenging, if not at first overthrowing, England's authority in the colonies. How about the word infringed? We understand it today to mean to violate or contravene. Let me ask you this. Would a background check or making illegal some types of weapons, for instance an AK-47, contravene or violate the right to keep and bear arms? And what about the word arms? In 1791, when the Bill of Rights got final ratification, arms were understood to be primarily muskets, whatever could be carried by a marching soldier. But in 2018, the militia's arms, in the possession of the state and federal armed services, are much more than that. We've not yet defined a consensus as to where to draw the line between arms that are acceptable and those that are beyond the pale. Where would you draw it? A handgun with a clip? Maybe a repeating rifle? An Abrams tank? A nuclear bomb? My liberal friends say, incorrectly, that the framers of Amendment 2 were 18th century men, and they understood arms to mean primarily muskets. They're correct also in saying that you and I don't need, say, an assault rifle to hunt deer. But my right-wing friends point out that the Second Amendment is very clear in the second clause phrasing. In other words, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And the Second Amendment never says, nor was it intended to imply, that arms are for hunting deer. Now, the implication on the right is this: arms may be used to overthrow an oppressive regime. That's what happened with our forefathers in 1776. But my conservative friends fail to realize that modern arms available to them on the private market, although far in advance of those of centuries back, are the equivalent of Nerf balls when compared to the weapons of mass destruction held by today's armed services armories. One gamer-savvy lieutenant operating computerized controls in some high-desert military facility could vaporize a whole community of armed truthers bunkered up in some Montana compound. And he'd be doing it with weapons far in advance from those used by Washington's Army or by the Attorney General at Waco, Texas. One viable compromise that might prove acceptable to men of honest intentions on both sides of the gun debate would be the following: make illegal the manufacture, importation, and sale of the kinds of high-power repeating weapons, such as those employed in the mass killing episodes in Las Vegas and at various school shootings around the country. Weapons which are capable of horrific carnage, but would be suicidal if employed against government firepower. Point 2. Encourage elected county sheriffs to license with restrictions far in excess of those required to drive a car, and to train law-abiding citizens in the proper use of pistols, shotguns, ordinary rifles to be employed against whatever drug-addled maniac is intent on robbery, rape, or general assault, be those crimes committed in an urban mall parking lot, a jogging trail, at home, wherever. Crimes that have resulted in more instances of death, major injury, and psychological trauma during some weekends than do all the school shootings of the past decade. These are but suggestions, intended to open honest dialogue among people seeking prudent decisions regarding public safety and survival of the Republic. Let me know what you think. This is E.T. Thanks for watching. Comment below, like or unlike. Do subscribe. Thank you.